Let's welcome our panel today. Hopefully as spirited as the last one. I have a feeling so far they're calm, they're collect, but we have some hot topics to talk about today. Julie Roginski is joining us, former Corazon Communications Director, Fox News contributor, and T.J. McCormick, host. Good morning, Westchester.
Yeah.
What are they doing without you this morning?
No, that was no actual morning.
Early.
I've been up a long time.
Done and done.
Can we preface this by saying TJ will not tell us what TJ stands for?
Yes, I guess Thomas John, Terrence James.
Yeah.
Let me take one more guess.
You and Theodore something, too.
Theodore, too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tariq.
Tariq Jamal. Tariq Jamal McCormick.
No, what is it?
It's Terrence Joseph.
Okay.
Oh, so she was close with Terrence.
That was so freeing. Thank you for that catharsis.
Now everybody knows a little bit about something, and you can actually tweet TJ at TJ McCormick and Julie at Julie Roginski if you want to guess Julie's middle name.
I don't have one. My parents didn't love me enough
By
to
the
give
end
one.
of the show, you're going to have one.
Tweet
Get her one for
me.
Christmas.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's all she wants for Christmas.
All I want for Christmas
No
is a
four-letter
middle
one.
Listen,
name.
hopefully we'll be able to go shopping for Christmas because the fiscal cliff is coming, and
Right.
the stores, I don't know if they're going to have deals or not, but a lot of people don't have the money in their pocket
The
they need.
end is nigh. Come
TJ,
spend what you got.
Congress is in session, at least for half a day today, probably, because it's a weekend.
Yeah, nice
But
of them to show the
do
action.
they have enough time to even make a difference?
I mean, do they have time, and do they even have the impetus? I mean, a good number of them there. Lame duck. It's a lame duck session. A bunch of them aren't answering to anybody. They don't seem to care going into this thing. They seem to be leaderless, rudderless, coming from the top. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. I think it's all kind of a wait and see thing. There's a lot of rhetoric flying around.
If I had a phone, we could try to call some of them and see if they're even answering.
They're not even answering.
No, they are answering their phones.
4141. That's the switchboard. Call it. See who answers.
Okay. Are they listening to their constituents? How active do you think Americans are after the election in expressing their views?
Well, I think that Americans have expressed their views in the election. I think the problem is, especially in the House, these districts are so gerrymandered. The majority of Republicans in the House, for example, won with over 60% of the vote. They don't have, where's the room for a compromise when you have these districts that are so gerrymandered, one way or the other, solid Democrats or solid Republicans? If your biggest fear is getting primaried from the right or the left, depending on where you sit, and not necessarily being in a competitive election where you have to appeal to the moderate, middle-of-the-road electorate, these guys, that's why they're so out of touch.
But we're in a lame duck session right now. What's to stop Congress from remaining in a lame duck situation for the next 4 years? Where's the incentive if the public elected a little bit more of the same, maybe with a few tweaks if the president decides?
Right.
Where's the incentive for them to do anything different, Julie?
Well, the incentive is, I guess, that they're going to be shamed by first the media and then their constituents into doing something, because obviously once the ceiling collapses, they're going to have to do something. I mean, they just had an election. They do have to answer to the voters. But, the beauty of Washington is, having worked down there, I don't know if you have, but they love taking this to the last possible second, and then they say, okay, all right, we're going to do this. Nobody's going to be happy. But with this advent of constant media attention and constant posturing,
we had constant media and constant posturing the last time we came across this situation with the cliff and the ceiling and all the other variables, and they kicked it down the road. Now here we are in the same position. But I think it also attention has to be given to the plan that the president has submitted as of now. The thing that Geithner delivered. It contains nothing in the area of a compromise. It's all spending. Tax raise.
But I think there's a method to that madness, because what the president's doing is putting the marker down, as he should have done over the past 4 years. He never used the bully pulpit.
This is how he started his first term, which was elections have consequences.
Not at all.
Rahm Emanuel, we got the votes.
The way he used to negotiate was he would sit down and he would say, all right, I'll give you a little bit of this, you have to give me a little bit of that. And then they kick the can down the road some more. He's now saying, look, this is what I'm proposing. You guys put your own proposal out. Don't forget, the reason he's not getting specific and the Republicans are not getting specific is nobody wants to be the first guy out of the gate on entitlement reform. Because the president remembers when he tried to cut $716 billion, take it out of put it towards Obamacare, but towards other reimbursements. He got accused of cutting Medicare.
Right, well, we have
He
to
doesn't
start
do
to
that
pay
anymore.
for Obamacare more and more and more before we even get the benefits of it fully over the next year or two.
Right.
Well, the benefits.
How are we going to pay for that?
Some of the benefits already kicked in. Don't forget, if you're a 20,
Some. I said some.
Yeah, some have.
Some.
Yes, every
But-
25-year-old child is extremely happy to be on their parents'
Well,
health
Yeah.
care
and
plan.
I'm happy that I don't have to
And-
pay for well visits for my baby and other things like that. But I also think at the end of the day, he's finally learned how to be a negotiator, and that's what you have to do when you're a negotiator.
I don't really see evidence. I mean, I'm just.
Yeah.
I don't really actually see that he's learned to be a negotiator. I really actually
He's
don't.
putting his marker down.
But
He's saying to these
it's one
guys, "You
thing-
come up
How
with your
about a
proposal."
budget?
But
How about putting a budget?
Well, he, by Constitution, proposes a budget every year. Whether it gets passed or not is different, but he does
Can
his
you
job.
imagine
Right.
that we're operating without a balanced budget?
and the last one
We
that he
haven't had a
submitted didn't
balanced
get
budget
one
since Bill
vote,
Clinton, though.
including
Bush-
Democrats.
But Bush never had a budget.
But are you optimistic or pessimistic we could get to that point so we can predict what these
Do I think we're
debt
going to ever have
ceiling will be?
Do I think we'll ever have a balanced budget? Not in the near future. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine because you really can't have a balanced budget without truly both hiking taxes, even if you got rid of everything.
Will there be some limit on the debt ceiling?
Well, again, this is the full faith and credit of the United States we're talking about. So you could talk about the debt
Wait,
ceiling, but at the end of the
who-
day, if you don't raise it,
Who
what are
got
you going to do?
the full faith and credit of the United States, which got downgraded the last time that we were up against
But
the,
it got
the
downgraded
ceiling.
because they kept talking about how they're not going to raise the debt limit.
The president played a big part in all that brinksmanship that the
course, that's what
people
you
mentioned.
that's what you do in politics,
But
though.
now he's submitted this thing that takes that almost makes it an infinite level in terms of the.
But
the ceiling.
Yes, but let's talk about
That's
this.
not
Let's
good.
see, but let's see what the Republicans come back with, and that's what you have. You come up. Listen, in every negotiation, whether it's you and your wife, or you and your boss, or the president and Congress, you start out from position A. I start out from position B, and then we meet in the middle to the extent that we can live with it.
Everybody knows where both sides stand. Don't you think
don't
that the
know where the
president?
Republicans are.
Everybody knows the Republicans want to take something out of somewhere, so show some
where?
significant cut. They have mentioned entitlements somewhere
how
along the
much?
way. But how much? And you know what? Perfect opportunity for the president to lead and say, you know what? Here you go. I'm going to give you one little kernel of corn right there.
What does
There's
he
your
have
thing.
to lose by doing that, the president?
Well, again, what he's basically saying is, here's the framework. This is what I'm proposing. But again, neither of these guys want to go first in terms of who's going to cut.
Right, let me ask you
entitlement
about
spending.
something else in terms of Republicans and their posture and the bipartisanship. What do you take from the meeting that Governor Romney had with the president yesterday in the Oval Office? Could there be something that could come out of that, perhaps a spirit of working together, maybe not them specifically, but both sides of the aisle? TJ?
I'm so skeptical of everything. I looked at it. I thought it was just an opportunity for Obama to go, hey, look at you. Didn't get. And Obama. I looked at it as posture. I looked at it as all for show. I don't think Obama wants to hear one
Why
thing.
bother if it's just for show?
Because it's just for show, and it's just politics. And I think President Obama absolutely has a disdain for Mitt Romney and people like him.
But I think you have this traditionally happen where you have, not all the time, but I think it's a nice gesture of saying we're a democracy. At the end of the day, the two parties, the two people who ran will come together. At least, I mean, you're absolutely right, it's all for show, but at least it shows that unlike other junta-like countries, we actually come together and we're able to sort of say, despite the fact that we had the spirited election, we're all Americans. And that was a nice gesture. Will it lead to anything? Of course
A
not.
junta would be exciting to cover, though, wouldn't it? A good old-fashioned junta?
Let's go down South America. Let's foment a junta.
Well, last question before
Yes.
we go. Any thoughts on the Supreme Court and the gay marriage consideration?
I am a pro-gay marriage conservative. Oxymoronic as that may sound, that's where I stand. I want this once and for all put behind us. I hate the idea that anybody can't get a benefit. I hate that anybody doesn't have visitation rights in a hospital. That breaks my heart. Don't like it, and that's based on personal experience with people in my life that I've known and worked with. And so that's where I stand. I hope they just...
And I think if you believe Brown versus Board of Education was precedent, how is this not? I mean, separate but equal is no longer a policy.
separate but equal, not
people,
cool.
this Arizona thing, I mean, if Jan Brewer, for example, if she cut benefits for spouses of straight people, then I would see, okay, fine. But if she's keeping spouses who are, a husband on the payroll of a wife, then that's different. But if she's now saying if you're in a gay relationship, you're not getting the same benefits, that to me is such separate but equal sort of, well, it's not equal, but it's horrible. I mean, I'm very, very, this is the civil rights issue of our time, I think, and I think it's high time that we do something
Interesting
about
way to
this.
put it. Thanks
Yeah.
for weighing in, both of you. We're going to take